How uptight should I be about a flashy end result? I see a lot of informational videos with cinematic music, multiple camera angles, and plenty of B-roll cuts. Um, or what's the, so and he explained someone like that, and then he says, what's the intersection between time spent editing and doing all that stuff and the return on it? What's the point of diminishing returns? And that's a great question, because we just said you can spend a lot of time either on social or on video, but ultimately you have to figure out how much time, and it goes back to a budget question we answered also, of will it get you what you want it to? In my experience, it's not at all about, Michael's going to have different answers on this one. That's great. From my experience, it's not at all about cinematic music, multiple camera views. You're doing social media. I just told a new client for something that I was suggesting that we do as part of our strategy. I was like, casual selfie mode is perfectly fine for this. It's behind the scenes, kind of what goes on in the business sort of thing. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. For other things, yes, it should be. If you're inviting people to a fundraising gala, you might want to make it look a little bit classier. If you're, I always say, if it's something on your website that's going to be there a long time, put the investment in making it, and I would say quality, but it's still not flashy. I remember seeing a video done, or a series of videos done for a dentist, and I also knew the person doing the videos. He's a dentist, talking about what makes him different. They're going to be on his website probably for years, but it's not flashy. That's not multiple cuts. It's not that fast kind of look here, look here, look here. But it depends what you're trying to do. For a gala, maybe that's a good idea. So how about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm the guy who spent tens of thousands of dollars on video equipment. So when people ask me, can't you just do it all on your cell phone? I've thought a lot about that question. And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. I think the difference is the intention. Now, I can easily hit record, go up, hi, Michael Brunner, this is what I'm doing. Who's going to want to watch that? Whereas,
defense for your business.
yeah. So if you script something out, if you know what you're doing, if you're shooting in a good location, if you do a couple of takes, by all means, do it on your phone. If you're taking the steps to make sure that it still comes out good and has intention behind it, then by all means, make it as simple as possible. The great majority of videos out there are incredibly simple. They're just talking head videos. Here's a background, here's someone, here's them talking, and they're some of the most effective videos out there. There is nothing wrong with simple, and I feel like I'm cutting into my profession here, but not really. Because right now I'm working on a series of testimonials for a local nonprofit, and all they are is talking heads. But it's people talking about the things that have absolutely changed their lives, saved their lives in some cases. Just the bleeding hearts that come out of that is incredible. And it's so simple. Simple does not mean it's boring or ineffective. Simple just means not flashy. And by all means, you don't need it, by all means. But like you said, if you're doing a gala, if you're doing something that you really want to get people's attention to, people to, hey, well, watch this video I just saw, by all means, flash it up as much as possible. But my big worry with this idea of trying to make everything flashy is that it will completely derail any marketing plan that you have. Because let's say you want to do 20 marketing videos in a month, and however you want to set those out. If you're stuck on your second video thinking, how do I make this interesting? How do I make it flashy? Do I add another camera? You're not going to get through the other 18. So it's much better for consistency, for your sanity, for your use of time, just to kind of assembly line them. I mean, I hate to use the example, but yeah, that really does it. One of my favorite posters is someone who just posts a short video of her and her child. And she just talks a little bit about being a professional mother. Just put some text up on screen and that's it. And that's incredibly simple. But it's usually in a very nice environment. It's usually very pretty and still gets a very good point across, and I want to watch it. And all right. So yeah, keep them simple. No problem with that. Add quality when you can, but mostly for your sanity, keep them simple.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and again, I think especially if it's not gonna have a super long shelf life, frankly, social media doesn't. You're gonna need 18 or 20 of them, but they're not gonna have a long shelf life. Whereas, if you do one fundraising gala a year, that's the one. So put something into it. And you talking there about like different angles and stuff reminded me of when I used to work with a very big company, and we'd go through for doing the videos and looking for background music, and someone I was working with would listen to like 20 or 30 clips of songs. Is it this one? Is it this one? Or this one or this one? And then like we'd send it to the person to approve, and they either didn't like it. So we went back, okay, this one or this one or this one, and it was like a week.
My job.
Right. Yeah, see there. So have Michael do that part. Whereas like when I'm making videos for my clients now, and I want to, every now and then it's something that I do just want to have background music on. And I'll listen to a few. I kind of know what vibe, what mood I'm looking for. And I'll listen to a few. I don't think I ever listen to more than 5. And I'm like, this one's fine. Because it's going to be seen. And then it's going to go, people aren't going to see it again. So like, it's fine. So yeah, you have to, the short answer of this, how uptight should I be about it being flashy? Don't be uptight at all. Keep it simple, keep it easy, for bigger projects or things that have longer life, make the investment for sure. Michael just mentioned doing testimonials for a nonprofit. Did you say how many you were doing? It was a bunch.
This particular nonprofit, I interviewed 7 people.
Okay. They're going to use those 7 videos, hopefully 25 times, 25 times each. They'll use it for a long time. They'll use them in different purposes. They'll use them for their gala. They'll use it for social. They'll use it in outreach. They'll use it on their website, and so on and so forth. So great. Take a little time to do it right, even if you still keep it really simple, because in that case, especially, you want it on the message. You want it on you want the focus on what the person is saying. So yeah, those are all those things. But yeah, generally, I think it seems like we're both fans of keep it simple.
The neat part is, even when things are complicated and flashy, they can still be simple. If you're doing, say, that big gala that we keep hypotheticalizing, then why not do a couple of videos to remind people when the date is? And that could be an easy mailer of just 5-second video. Remember, it's 2 days till the gala. That's it. That's as simple as can be, but that would make sure they double check their calendars, and that could be tremendously useful to them. So simple should never be looked down upon. Boring and ineffective, absolutely.
Different, right? I was going to say, it doesn't mean be boring.
I have another social media coach that I talked to that gave me a very different idea of how I should work on YouTube than my other person did. What I'm working on is 1 video a week. And this other guy suggested that I might try 1 video a month and really put the effort into getting some real production value behind it. And I can definitely see where he's coming from with that, just because YouTube is it's longer in the legs. You can put out a video and then years later it gets a lot of attention. And I haven't tried that yet, but it's always interesting. You can try something a little different.
Right. And something we had talked about a little while ago, test it. Look at what comes from doing 1 a week in that weekend. But here's the thing, you'd have to then kind of look at it a few months down the line. And what comes from doing 1 a month that's maybe a little bit more produced, a little bit more detailed, probably a lot longer. which doesn't necessarily mean a lot harder, just longer. But it can get more attention if you do everything else, to get people to be looking at it. I know, like, I look up all kinds of things on videos on YouTube, which is to your point. Years later, people can still be looking at it, so it's worth doing a little bit more.
Oh, and another thing that we haven't quite addressed that has really helped me out is anytime you can incorporate your video marketing, your social media marketing into any other responsibilities, that's always for the better. Like the mother I was talking about, she's usually getting those videos while she's out on a walk with her little girl. So, she's just doing two things at once. And I know someone else who's an interior designer. She's going around to all of her suppliers for interior design and filming all their showrooms and doing videos in their showrooms. And that's brilliant. She's educating herself on what exactly they do. She's introducing herself to them and she's showing them off and she's getting a good video out of it. It's just win, 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 win. So if you can find a way, say you had a goal of hitting every restaurant in the East Bay, then if you could incorporate that somehow into getting your videos out at the same time, then it's just going to be that much easier to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that idea. Things where you can both combine, but also collaborate with the interior designer's doing.
Yeah. Or interviewing people. I mean, you ask someone out for a beer or wine and just ask them a couple of questions about that. You record it, you call it a business lunch. What I'm looking forward to personally is I would love to get to a point where I can start renting equipment that I wouldn't normally buy, just so that I can do product reviews on it, just so I can play with all the really cool stuff.
There you go, right? You're like, so how do I make that one work, right?
Because to rent the really fun toys would just be a blast.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Sure.
All right. So, Deborah, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Yes, this is always fun. I'm glad we did it again. If you guys have any questions, by all means, reach out to either of us, either in the comments or other ways you might reach us. And we'd love to hear any other questions you have or any feedback.
Thank you all very much. Talk to you next time.